Hi, everybody. So I'm doing this live to be able to see how we can support the naira and support the economy. And I have somebody very dear to me that'll be joining me. He's going to be giving us a masterclass on exports. I've known him for a while, Mr. Ramdila Emibo of 3G Impacts, and it's more than a joy bringing you this live. And anytime I come on the live like this, there's just a lot of impact I want to be able to bring your way. So once he sends his request, I'm going to definitely accept him, and we're going to have a session. So what we'll pretty much discuss this evening will be about import-export trade and FX issues. And we're going to be talking about the economy of Nigeria pretty much, from an import-export angle and all of that, and how we can ensure that people that are doing import and export still get, to be able to do well with FX and all of that. Yes, so I've been a little bit under the weather, struggling with a lot of flu, with a lot of ill health, but gradually I'm coming around, and I thank God for His mercies, and I appreciate God, for what He's been doing in my life and protection. And I thank you all for joining this live. So I'll just tell Mr. Dele Ayemibo to join me now, and then we start up this. And thank you guys so much, for your reaction to my plea about somebody that reached out to me, a medical doctor that told me his relative needed to do a brain tumor surgery. I'll still check on them this evening. Thank you all for your reaction. I think they've been able to get some things, to help them, and let's see how that pans out. So once we get all of that in, then I think we should be able to ensure that they're able to do the brain tumor surgery. And it's brain tumor is something that is very scary. I was hearing the story yesterday. It was quite scary. Just discovered that the relative was vomiting, constant vomiting, and the checks revealed that it was brain tumor. And it's just a sad one. So yeah, so jump on the live now. We're ready. We're ready. Yeah. So it's just a very sad one, and I pray, for healing, and I pray for health, and I pray for capacity, for them as they go through a time like this, and it's just a very sad one. This is brought to you in partnership with VO News NG, our news portal. And most of the content here will also be available across on VO News and all of that. So VO News, and you can check that up. It's a website, set up particularly for news and insights and all of that. So we'll be able to get all of that. Brother Mr. Bandela Ibibo, he should be joining me soon on this live.
Let me use, I think I need to use another device.
Okay, try to join it. Try to use another device. Okay, so he'll try to join it and use another device, so he'll be able to get to see us properly, and so we'll be able to have the session. It's just going to be for 30 minutes, and it's going to be very enlightening. It's going to be about trade, it's going to be about development, and it's going to be about a lot of how you can impact and be impacted from this economy. Despite how things are, forex and trade investments. Let's see how this session will help you all. So let's see. Let's try to get him back on now, and we will be able to talk to him now. Okay, we're trying to join with him. We're joining him on, and we're waiting. I think it's going to connect soon. Yep, it's going to connect soon. It's going to connect soon. We're waiting on him. Okay. Let me try to accept again. Waiting on him. So probably when he accepts, we'll be able to. Oh, he's unable to join. What is happening? Okay. Okay, so try to join again. Yeah, so okay, I think we're trying to see his request again so he can join. Yep. Good. I think he should be joining us now. Wow, what's happening?
All right, thank you.
Excellent. Good to see you again, Mr. Abibo.
Good to see you. Well done. Thanks for doing this.
About close to 10 years ago, we used to talk about how trade can transform Nigeria. Yeah,
Yes, on inspiration in those days.
he's the trade expert, and this is a session for a lot of people. And please utilize this. So today we're going to be talking about import-export trade and FX issues in the economy. You know, why is it increasingly essential for businesses in Nigeria, particularly importers, to diversify into exporting in a bid to generate change revenue? I mean, I think let's start from that conversation first.
I mean, if there is any time for that to happen, I think this is the time for that to happen. Because it's getting to a point where people have to begin to generate their own FX themselves. Before now, I mean, people will go to CBN, queue up, and then you're able to get FX. But now we don't have enough FX. Everybody knows what's happening in the country. Our oil production has gone down. That's a major foreign exchange earner of the country. So if you really want to still be in the business and be competitive, of course, there's no better time to consider non-oil export than now. The economy is forcing a lot of businesses that hitherto have not thought of that to begin to see the need for it right now.
So non-oil export, a lot of say, can it be as viable as oil? And I know you have a lot of data as regards that, you know, the capacity of non-oil export. Let's talk through that. Can it be as viable as oil? And what are the, you know, primary challenges faced by import-dependent businesses in Nigeria regarding forex and all of that?
Yes, it can be as viable as oil because world trade now is about 24.5 trillion. Crude oil is just about a trillion, between 800 and 1.2 trillion. So, and world trade is 24.3 or 24.5 trillion. So if crude is just about a trillion, obviously we can do a lot more as far as oil is concerned. So if you look at a lot of other areas, from the commodity itself to secondary product to finished product, crude oil is definitely small compared to what the world is trading in. Sometimes you see electronic gadgets, motor vehicle, crude oil, and gold. They are all oscillating as the topmost export every year. So it just, of course, it's a reasonable volume in terms of export in the world, but we still have a lot of other options that can be considered in Nigeria and, of course, in other parts of the world. So, but for Nigeria for now, because of the infrastructure that have been built over the years, that is still a major foreign exchange earner for us. If we are going to build the others, I'm talking about now for the nation, we definitely will take a long time to get to where crude is. But for individuals doing businesses and need forex, they don't need to take that long time for them to be able to generate forex for them to use for their own transaction.
So let's break it down. How possible is this? What are those commodities? What are those commodities that can give us export? Excite us with the numbers. I know you have the risk.
I mean, if you go by the MBS statistics, the top export of Nigeria, if I look at agro commodity, you'll be looking at cocoa, you'll be looking at cashew, you'll be looking at sesame, you'll be looking at soya beans. Interestingly, I don't know if you remember one of those days that we talk about the need to consider soya beans that was supposed to be a major foreign exchange earner for many countries that Nigeria was not considering. Now is getting to among the top commodity being exported in Nigeria. In the world, soya beans is over 70 billion. In fact, if you look at cocoa beans, about 10 billion, cashew nut about 6 billion, sesame seed about 3-4 billion. If you add all the agro commodity Nigeria is doing together, all of them combined, I mean, the world total market value is not up to soya beans alone. It's not up to soya beans alone. And Nigeria has what it takes if we, I mean, you're an agro, or you're, okay, no, is it agronomist now? I want to say you're agronomist. I know you know a lot about agri, but I'm thinking about yield per hectare. That's why I refer to that.
So, I love physiology, and the kind of training I got, I went through every aspect of agriculture. So
I did
fishery, I did courses in animal breeding and genetics, I did courses in crop production, soil texture, soil analysis and all of that. I did courses in pastoral and range management, and toxicology. So, I did a broad range in my training. So I have experiences in, fisheries, poultry, apart from being a core animal physiologist and anatomist, and also about crop protection and all of that, and crop production in general. So my training is like a wide-ranging training across board. So you've talked about soya. I know there are a lot of people out here that might see these things and they want to be part of it, but they don't know how to be part of it. And that's why the very first thing I'd like to beg you for during this session is there a number people can call you after this session? I know people will call you. Please, can you give us that number first before we continue?
Okay. You can call the number, send a WhatsApp to the number 0809 080-9999-3142. A WhatsApp is most preferred. 080-9999-3142. 080-9999-3142.
Okay. So that's for your number afterwards. So you've been able to excite us with the numbers and everything. But why is that Nigeria is not now exporting all of these things, to be able to reposition our economy? Why is that we are not getting all of this? And, what are the primary challenges faced by import-dependent business in Nigeria? And how can business in Nigeria strategically position import-focused operation to exporting to alleviate foreign exchange concerns?
Okay, let me take the first part. Why are we not doing enough in export? Rufai, it might interest you to know that Nigerian total number of exporters, according to Nigerian Export Promotion Council, in 2022, we are still waiting for the data of last year. 2022 was 1,172. To put that in perspective, our population is over 200 million. America population is about 300 million. American export is about 300,000 businesses. In UK, about 150,000 businesses. By the way, registered exporter in Nigeria is about 15,000 plus. According to NEPC, this was over a year ago. According to NEPC, but the people exporting are very few. And one of the major challenges is lack of export readiness. Lack of export readiness. I'll come back to this later on. Talking about how exporters can position themselves. What I discover is that, do you know it's actually a lot easier for an exporter, for an importer to become an exporter than someone that has not done import before. For an importer, let's say I'm importing battery from China. Battery, car battery from China. I can export the raw material of that product to the same company that is producing my battery. That means we can have a symbiotic relationship. We can have a symbiotic relationship. So for an importer, it's just to flip it. The documentation are still pretty much similar. The challenges you face at the port, if you are used to challenges at the port as an importer, you can easily handle it as an exporter because you're used to those challenges already. If you move your good on barge to avoid the issue on the road in Apapa, you already know what to do on export. So to a very large extent, it's just to flip and then to now learn what are the differences, what do I need to leverage upon to be able to pivot from import to export and generate foreign exchange. Now, for the readiness issue I talked about earlier, the real issue is readiness. You know, I actually took a PhD to find solution to that problem of export readiness. And when I finished that thesis, I came up with a model and tested it on about 120 businesses in Nigeria. About 3 to 4%, 3.6% were export ready. Guess what? 66% were almost ready, meaning they scored between 70 to 89. Those that scored 90% and above are export ready. Those that scored between 70 to 89 are almost ready, meaning they can actually export. Only that they will have some area they are lacking behind that if they don't fix, it might be a problem in future. But only very few businesses are export ready. So the challenge of readiness is the reason why we have a large number of companies registered with the government, but only few have been able to export successfully.
Okay. So you talk about export readiness. Then how do we solve that problem? Then what's the role of government policies in incentivizing and shifting businesses towards exporting to address this forex shortage? Because we need forex, and that's why I'm part of this. Since we are not getting from crude oil, we can get it from other commodities we have here.
Yes. Now, first of all, we are not, as far as government is concerned, I've not seen, I'm still waiting for the policy direction. I'm aware NEPC executive had a retreat recently. We are waiting for their plan. I've not seen a serious plan on the part of the government in terms of what the government is doing. For example, I'm expecting that I will see the president mention this very frequently. You know, there is this thing about body language. I mean, you guys are the one in the media. You talk about a lot about body language, that when the president is thinking a direction, all the lieutenants go in that direction. I've not seen that for the new administration, that talking about it in a way that will make the people to now say, okay, look, this is what our boss is talking about. This is what we need to begin to do. That's one thing I think needs to be done. Number two, financing. If I'm going to export, you know, sometimes, currently, people are still exporting to Ukraine. People are still shipping to Russia, even though they are in the midst of war. And the reason is because the government of those nations give their people export credit insurance. They want the people to go ship to that country. This country is buying a critical product we need. If you have issues shipping there because of the war going on, we will insure your proceed. That is what a number of countries are doing. That makes entrepreneurs to take bigger risk because the government is protecting them. After all, the money is already being stolen. Why can't governments take a lot of money on its people? By insuring their transaction. And by insuring their transaction, it becomes a lot easier for them to take higher risk. We are looking for forex. That can make people to want to do a lot of export and be able to generate a lot of forex in the country. So one of the biggest challenges, we are not getting enough support. Government is trying. I mean, the last administration, for example, they gave about 50 billion to support export, and it's not an audio money. I was among the consultants that review businesses, and I know businesses that got part of that money. If we can do that frequently, not just once in a while, that one happened. It was supposed to be a COVID support, and since 2020, it has not happened again. See, it has not happened again. But businesses got it, and I know someone today that has a factory, processing factory, because of that money. So we need a lot of support on the part of the government in that direction to be able to support people that want to go into this space.
Okay, so the long-term benefit for Nigerian businesses, you know, if they pivot, how can they? And can you just tell us some of the products, quick wins? Because after this conversation, I know averagely we have thousands of people watching this now via this my Instagram TV. Rufai Network on Instagram. I want nothing less than 1,000 exporters from here now, so that we can empower.
That's a very, very audacious. But it's good. It's good.
I'm a man of
Rufai is and it's very possible.
yeah.
It's very possible. Number one is anybody thinking of export. What I would strongly recommend you first go and get is the knowledge. For those that listen to you on TV, you agree with me that, I mean, this not to, I'm not massaging your ego. Even when we used to do radio together, the way you talk about the business is as if you are in the business. And that shows how much you read. And that's just to tell people that, look, if you are going to be able to do the business, then you must learn about it. Because international trade is knowledge intensive. The reason why people lose money is because of the challenge of not being able to get the right knowledge. Let me give you an example. I was at a program last year, November. It was organized by one of the banks, and the coordinator of Southwest in Lagos for NPC were together on the panel, and was telling me that, can you imagine that a Nigerian business exported cashew nuts to India, and the cashew nuts have quality issues when they open the container in India? But that problem could have been solved in Nigeria if the person understands the fact that raw cashew nut export, the maximum moisture should be between 8 to 9, max 10%. And that it should be loaded, put in a jute bag for ventilation, and should be put in a container with desiccant in the container to absorb moisture in transit. Now, that is the knowledge for that kind of commodity. If you don't do it, you might find out that they open the container in India and the cashew nut will be growing because of the heat and the moisture in the container. Now, that is the challenge of knowledge. You will have heard several times that the DJ of NAFDA will say, oh, Nigerian product is being rejected. And people will say, Nigerian product is rejected. Government embarked at some point on certification of our factories for SMEs to be able to produce to a certain standard because of quality issue. This is just talking about the importance of having knowledge of the product. Knowledge of the product. And we do a free seminar every Thursday because of this. In fact, in the month of February, we'll be doing free seminar for about 80 products. We'll take the product one by one, one by one, one by one. We have highlighted about 80 different products from agro commodity to semi-processed good to solid minerals every Thursday on Zoom. I've had a session today, for example, and you can be able to learn. So you'll be able to know, okay, if I want to export, like you said, cashew nut, what is involved? If I want to export a shea butter, what is involved? If I want to export cocoa beans, what is involved? If I want to export slippers. If I want to export, yes, of course, people export slippers to West Africa. Enough. Rubber slippers is a major Nigerian export. Rubber slippers, cigarettes, are major Nigerian export to West Africa. In fact, this issue happening in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, we have first some Nigerian businesses shipping to those regions. Because even our insecticide for mosquito, Nigeria do a lot of shipment of that. And by the way, exporting value-added good does not mean I have to be the producer. For example, I export pap. You know, I export pap to the UK, for example. But I don't produce pap. I export kuli-kuli. I don't produce kuli-kuli. I export gari. I don't produce the gari. I don't need to produce it. I can be a merchant. And that's why I've been saying that Japa, in as much as it's causing brain drain, it can be a blessing in disguise if we harness the potential of Nigerian abroad to develop market for a lot of Nigerian businesses.
I know people want to contact you. Call your number again. And you remember many years ago, you and I started a little export cooperative where we can take people's products to the UK.
I remember. Yes. I remember you gave me some product samples.
Oil. Today I never get baby. I don't know why. Get oil and some other products like that. They took some were not taken and all of that. Can we also have something like this? And people also ask him, is the training, is it, online, the free training? So when you say,
yeah, it's online, it's on Zoom online, yes.
Somebody was already saying seminar that they will answer to pay money. I was exactly what you said, free, because we would just want
free,
and we just want to help people. So call your number again.
0809
yes
9993142.
Okay.
08099993142. WhatsApp only.
Oh,
08099993142.
okay. So,
We have paid training, no doubt, but we also have free training. Like I told you, we are trying to do 80 different products. We will, because it's a weekly program, we will not be able to finish this year. We'll finish it next year. But we're going to take it one by one, one by one. If you chat that number, you will get the link. The link is the same.
ooh.
Every Thursday by 5 to 6 p.m. Every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m.
Okay. What are these innovative strategies that Nigerian businesses can adopt to enhance, competitiveness in the national market? You said before that people are still exporting to Russia and Ukraine. I mean, what are they exporting to these countries despite the challenges they have? And, how can we also have that level of sustainability here, And what is the effect of relying solely on import rather than being an export economy?
Now, relying on import being an export economy is the reason where we are right now. The reason Nigeria is currently having the issue we are having is actually because of that reliance, that over-reliance on import. Because there's so many things to import. Now, the issue, Rufai, is not really import, though, because when you look at Nigeria import per capita compared to South Africa, Nigeria is not importing as much as South Africa.
Mm.
In fact, it's bad now. As at the time we were having those programs in those days, Nigeria export was about 50 to 60 billion dollars. South Africa was 80-90 billion dollars. South Africa export has grown to 120 billion dollars. Nigeria is still within 50 to 60 billion. Nigeria export is still within 50 to 60 billion. Last year, South Africa export was about 120 billion. So Africa have grown. We have not grown. We have not grown. And the reason, like I said earlier, is this deliberate effort by the government. When Obama became president, the news added that major manufacturer, because he discovered that for every $1 billion export, there are hundreds of thousands of jobs created. This he set up a committee that reports to him directly. This committee reports to him directly. The Boeing CEO was the chairman, I think the first committee chairman. And the reason is because he wants to hear from them and work with them to fix their issue to grow U.S. export. U.S. is still the second largest exporter next to China. I mean, China export has crossed 2 trillion. U.S. is 1.5, 1.6 trillion. So if we can take this serious, and I mean at the level of presidency, if I look at this, do you know that Nigerian businesses want to export, and the landing fee of the airline, the charges of fan because of the target government are giving them, is making it difficult for the airline to give us a reasonable price. Their rates are very high. Now, we want to grow export. We can do a lot of perishable through the air. Some countries, I mean, you are aware of what Kenya is doing, and some of East African countries, they will be able to ship some of these products.
Because I know Kenya now, as we speak, are already preparing to ship their flowers for Valentine to Europe. Most of the flowers that will be bought in Valentine, Kenya is already shipping as we speak.
To ship it. It's already planning to ship it. So we've not gotten to that point, because you see a situation where in Nigeria, you have a situation where if at some point I was asking the CEO of the coordinator of NDPC in Lagos that how on earth both of you are reporting to the same government? This was in the last administration. How can you be reporting to the same government and your action, you need to grow non-export, and another agency is having policy that is negating what you want to do? And he said, I mean, it's difficult for them because they are following up, but nothing is happening. So it's like there's no cohesion even among the agencies of government to be able to support export as much as possible. As much as possible. Because if this is done, you have a situation where if the government says, okay, we are ready to now do this shipment, every other agency of government need to work in the same direction. For example, Nexim Bank will want to give money to support that kind of initiative. FAN, in fact, look at another one. Sometimes it's unfortunate we are talking about this, but it's good we are talking about this. we can never tell. Maybe there is a government official that is on this platform that might be able to take it up. There is an issue in Apapa, being able to ship through Apapa. So we now have to use a badge to be able to move the goods from, let's say, Ikorodu, for example, or from Amuwo, or from Abule Osun, to move it on water to Apapa and Tinkan. Rufai, do you know that Fan, Nimasa, they are now increasing the fee of waterway by badge, making the cost even almost higher than going by truck for a short distance. So it's like we want to grow export on one hand, but we're also not helping. I know this agency have target. That's why I say it has to come from the top, such that at the end of the day, they work to support Nigeria Export Promotion Council initiative to be able to grow non-oil export as much as possible.
Let's talk about possible collaboration with governments. How can we help governments in this and also help the people? And like I said, please, he has given the number a couple of times, get across to him as we start the round up. How can we help government? And like that scheme we did before, where we wanted to hold the hands of, exporters and things like that, and people that had exciting products, what can we do as regards that? And is it every product you must export with an export license? What are the little African countries here and there that we can export to that we can earn, even if it's CFR now, because CFR is already higher than enough?
CFA is, there's a program I wanted to do with someone in Cote d'Ivoire, and we were negotiating, and I was checking CFA. The last time I went to Cote d'Ivoire, it was almost at par. Now, ₦1 million is about 430,000 CFA. ₦1 million. 400, as I was checking yesterday, I was negotiating with this guy, 430,000 CFA. So any CFA is like any dollar. Now, let me come to your first question about what can be done. That's one of the reasons why we are actually doing the free seminar, actually, is to increase awareness. Because, if you are not aware of what is possible, you don't even begin to think and do something about it. You don't even begin, because you can only begin to do something about it when you are even aware that, you mean there's so much demand for Gary, there's so much demand for pap, there's so much demand for coconut, there's so much demand for this product that we have in the country. So you need to be first of all aware, and that is one of the things I think we can do is continue that seminar. Now, hand-holding is one of the things we do, even though that comes at a cost. That's the mentoring program. That comes at a cost because the truth is, if you are going to export, you will need a lot of funds to be able to even do the business itself. And you can see that as part of the cost of business development. But in terms of supporting government sincerely, this kind of initiative, which you have graciously agreed to do, is one of the things that can be done such that people can begin to get as much information as possible and become aware of the possibility within this space. There is no better time to consider explorer than this. And this is the time for us to begin to think of it. Maybe this will be an avenue to be able to grow the number of exporters in Nigeria. And like you said, maybe we can get 1,000 people coming on board.
Look at the state of the states. Most of our state governors are very mentally lazy people. Can you tell me some of the states in Nigeria and some of the products that they can be exporting and how much you can possibly give them in IGR in commodity? Take, for instance, I know there are some states in the north that have access to gum arabic. Gum arabic is used to make fizzy drink, a very popular fizzy drink.
It's used to make capsule
And all of that. But they are not utilized. Can you tell us what the states will make with that, utilize that, and if they do?
Very important. We did this also 2016, and I revised it early this year. Sorry, last year when the election was coming. Number one, there is no state in Nigeria that should be poor. No state. Every state in Nigeria have a particular product that they can export. And here is my suggestion. I'm not suggesting anything new. Currently, government partner with the IOCs they produce the oil. Nigeria have a percentage of it. We ship it out. We make money from it. We can do the same for lead ore. We can do the same for tantalite. We can do the same for sesame seed. We can do the same for ginger. The idea is this: a state governor. Let's leave sesame seed. I served in Jigawa State, and I remember as a copper in Jigawa State, I see sesame seed. I always joke that if I have known about sesame seed and export, maybe I will not leave Jigawa State. Because Jigawa State produce so much amount of sesame seed, and in my analysis, this state can generate over 100 billion if you use 20 to 30% of the land mass to grow sesame seed. And the state can partner with its citizens and give them guarantee. Go and produce sesame seed. I will buy from you as the government. And I will pay you 3 months after you deliver. Within that 3 months, the government can process it, can clean it, can bag it, and export. When the government is doing it, the government should not do it himself. Government should partner with a major sesame seed exporter in Nigeria. Set up the processing plan. Let those people set up a joint venture with them. They will be the one to export, and government will get a good chunk of the income from this particular export. And from the income of government, government can pay the farmers who farm that sesame seed. So instead of people coming to the state, government can give them improved seedling, support them with land and everything they need. They produce that sesame seed, bring it to a particular location where government can buy it off. Government can give them guarantee, we will pay you in 6 months, and give them a guarantee, a bank guarantee to that effect. This can be replicated for cocoa, for cashew, for ginger, for gum arabic, like you mentioned, for sesame seed, for lead, for zinc, for copper, for palm oil, and a number of other products. And no state in Nigeria will be poor at the end of the day because they can generate it themselves. But like you said, they are sharing trillions of naira now, Rufai. I'm not sure the governors, I'm not sure any of them is going to pick in this direction. You are giving them a lot of work. They don't want to work.
It's making them more dense. They don't want to work. So let's open their brain. Because you can see anything in foreign direct investment. So you talked about sesame seeds in the north. All right. What about things like tomato? In the 60s, I know Nigeria used to export 1/3 of all the tomatoes in West Africa sub-region. What are some other crops? I know ginger, I know onion is there.
All of them have huge demand. All of them. If you are going to do tomato, you can do tomato by air, only that you need to have a cold chain to move it under control condition to the airport and air freight it. Now, but there's a challenge with fresh fruit. If you don't have organic certification, and now we have local gap in Nigeria, so you can actually get organic certification in Nigeria now. There's a company in Abuja that can help you get organic certification. If you don't have that certification, it will limit the market you can access. But if you have organic certification, then you can expand your market to many European countries, and of course, not America, but mainly European countries, because there is a flight of DHL that come into Nigeria every day, pick up fresh produce. The painful thing is that majority of those fresh produce come from West Africa. Allied there go to pick them up, drop them on a tarmac. From there, they load it into the DHL plane and they go to Brussels every day. I think Monday to Friday. Every day. But like I said, the major challenge is that majority of the commodity and the fresh fruit on it are not from Nigeria. They are from West Africa, because a number of those farms have organic certification and a lot of demand for them. From pineapple to avocado to pawpaw, these are all different products that are exported from Nigeria. Only that it's not from Nigerian farm and with vegetable to these countries in Europe, into the European countries.
Okay. One thing is certain, we'll keep bringing this to people from time to time because time is fast spent.
Thank you very much for making this happen.
And I just hope we have opened the eyes of our political leaders and our governors. For all of you that say, Rufai, you just talk, you don't find with people learn, and I want to partner with you on this. As you called me, I said I will make my platform available for nothing, and because I know the growth of Nigeria is the growth of all of us. Number in
08099993142.
Okay.
08099993142.
Okay.
08099993142.
So I can assure you this, I will still look for more time to bring Dr. Bamidele Ayemi-Bor, for insights like this on trade
and Dr. Rufai also. I know you have PhD now.
Not very well. We thank God for it. Thank God for the recognition. truth has to be said. It's somebody I know very well. You know, I worked on radio for many years, and used to have a show with 3T Impex then, you know, on radio.
But now on Nigeria Info.
Okay, now you're on Nigeria Info. We also be a consultant, you know, as regards trade and network. We did a lot of things with Fidelity Bank then. I mean, me say I don't take for this business. Fidelity Bank, and we did a lot of other things and all of that. And one other thing I'd like to tell you is this. I built a center recently in honor of my father in the village. You know,
I saw it. I'm following your line. I saw it.
I want a case where we can also take this to the people in my village so that they can benefit. We can have export trains. Maybe anytime you're ready, we can bring them together, open their eyes to things like this. Because people in the villages, they might have all of these products to export. They don't even know how to go about it. But we can also empower them. You know, it's something that we can think about.
Tell you what I think. Let me tell you what I think we can do. That kind of arrangement, because I don't know how educated many of them are, but what they can do is to produce a standard to plug it into different export channels so they can get a lot of orders. Currently, I'm exporting Gary, and somewhere in Ijebu, someone is producing for us. So that kind of network. So we can throw up this kind of product that they are producing and then network them with a lot of exporters that can even give them money to produce and begin to export. Because for those in the villages, they might not have enough financial muscle to be able to have extended cash conversion cycle. But if they plug in into exporter who can finance them, they produce for them, and they are growing, the exporter are growing. So they are still indirect export, only that they are working with people who then do the shipment. They can get their money up front and produce. I think that kind of arrangement can work.
Okay, great. We'll look at the possibility of that, and we'll see how we can empower people together. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you very much for making this happen. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Get more insight from him. Bless you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.